Alright, let's make some rabbit stew. Alright. Good. Excellent. No, we have a freebie. Look at all the rabbit stew. Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the internet. Volathis here, and we're on another episode of Just Building. For today's episode, the main focus is the castle. Now, as you can see, I'm using blue wool, which I'm basically going to use to outline the structure of the castle, at least the framework of it. And as you can see, there's torches everywhere. That's basically what I end up using as kind of a counting device for me to make sure the structures are at least semi-constructed well. And as you can see, it took me a few attempts just to get it right. The original rectangle was not big enough, and then I extended it, and then I ended up shrinking it a little just to get it right. Now, next for the castle actual frame, I used cobblestone stone brick as usual, and I also even extended the blue wool 2 spaces forward. I felt that had a better look to it, and from there I basically started working on the frame, at least the outline of it. And there's gonna be a lot of work that does in this castle. As I'm editing this right now, I don't even know, it might be a 2-episode part. I'm working with about 3 hours worth of raw footage at least. I'm not sure how, maybe in the future episodes I'll stop saying how much video footage, but I just like to throw it out there that there's a lot of video footage that goes into this and my process of it. But anyways, I wanted to think it over. There's a lot of stuff in this that I that I double guessed myself. So, but the main idea I had starting, and first off, most of my building plans, I start with the frame. I need the frame to think about everything, and even the frame won't be final. It'll be something that I obviously will re-edit over and over again until I think I get it right. So in the beginning, I didn't really have a fine idea of what was going on. I knew this was going to be a castle slash cathedral. I wanted to be, at least the bottom level of it, very public for this magical city. I wanted people to be able to go into it, meet the, at the time I thought, king, maybe queen, and maybe prince. I had no idea what I was doing, how many people would be there, but it would be very open. And as you can see, it's not a tiny castle. And after that, I started to work on the door frame using stone brick stairs, and just kind of wanted to make a little archway, you know, very open, no doors or anything like that, so people could come in, and just worked on the frame until I had one of my fellow builders come over and help me out. They wanted to help me out with this, so what I decided to do is that I was going to finish getting a rough estimate of the ceiling of the frame. So from there, I could fill it in, at least from the bottom level. And afterwards, I discovered that my helper had accidentally made sort of a cross kind of shape, and before he destroyed it, I told him to stop so I could go in and edit a little, because I wanted to make a cross symbol anyways, because back in the Middle Ages anyways, they were very religious, of course, and I wanted to have, like I said, this is a cathedral slash castle, so I went over and tried to edit it a little, but I ended up just sticking to the stone brick for now, and even add a little bit of later on will edit a little bit more, and I went back to the frame and just basically filled it all in, and this took quite a while because my helper was in the way a little bit for the building later on because he was AFK and had to remove him. And as you can see, I took my time filling in the walls of the castle, going up and down, up and down, up and down repeatedly. This took quite a while because of how big the structure is, and eventually I ended up, after that, I went back to the cross structure that we had worked on, but I felt like it needed a little bit more. So what I did is cut back a little bit on the roof and used stone brick stairs to kind of give that little pyramid shape and make it look better. And it took me a few times, or just a little bit, to figure out what I wanted. And then ultimately I felt that the stone bricks didn't really make the cross stand out. At one point I even thought about gold, but I felt like there was a bit too much, and I ended up using a stone slab for the structure. So after I made what I felt like would be a better cross structure, I went to the midsection in between the cross and one of the corners and started to make another pyramid. Now these pyramid shapes are going to be used for the glass that's going to be on top of the roof of the castle, and basically the pyramid shapes are just basically where the glass will be lined up with and kind of look like they were supports. And notice that the pyramids I was starting to make, the left one and the middle one, were off, so I had to go down and correct the door frame so it would line up with the pyramid on top, and ultimately finish the third or I guess these are more triangle shapes, huh? Finish that up so I could continue with the next part with laying with the glass. Now the glass was based off the triangle shape that I had previously made on the roof, and for now I extended it all the way to the edge of the roof as my beginning intentions, but I knew that in the end that the glass wouldn't reach the end of the roof, simply because I didn't like the look of that. And after was done laying the glass, I began layering the roof, filling in all the open areas with the stone brick as per usual. And after that, I used the stone brick stairs to outline the glass on both sides to give it kind of a, like I said earlier, more of a support look, to make it look like it was kind of holding it up there. And from there, I continued started to work on the inner part of the castle, and the first part I wanted to work on, I then proceeded to basically map out the royal section, and the idea was the upper halves, for the most part, was going to be the royal family section. Now, I planned on later that, of course, there would be like a dining hall / maybe a war room type setting, and I knew that this would also be up where the royal family would live, with the king, queen, prince or princess, and possibly even future kids. And the first thing I started with was, at the back corners, was to work on kind of like tower structures. These weren't going to be towers, this was going to be basically winding staircases so that you could gain access to it. And then the idea is I started a archway that would connect at the top, where basically the floor of the royal section would start. And from there, I would have the royal section kind of hidden away. The public would be able to see from above what was the royal section, but they can't really see what goes on. It was basically going to be shaped into the building, but no one would know what goes on there without actually investigating themselves. And I proceeded to go up to the roof and fix the glass to make sure that it looked right, and just have that kind of cut off section at the top where the royal family were as well flat. And of course, after the beginning archway was made, I moved on to making stained glass, because I wanted the whole stained glass feeling for this cathedral, at least for the front view where the king and queen would sit on their throne, so to speak. And this part took me quite a bit of double guessing, especially I started out with just the regular stained glass, blue stained glass, and then started to try and make a crown with, of course, the yellow, and I had to decide between the glass panes or just the regular glass. And after a little bit of trial, I went ahead with the glass panes and found out I actually had to extend the window's size because it just wouldn't fit. And I even tried to see if I could put gems in it, but ultimately I went with sort of a three-pronged simple design crown, and then even tried to make sort of blood, because I couldn't really think of a symbol to go above the crown, and I kind of didn't really want it to be just a crown. And then ultimately I just went with just the crown and the blue glass, and felt like it turned out very nice. The long rug that would lead to the throne. Now, I started out with red carpet down the middle, and of course outlining it with yellow carpet. And from there, started to lay down the throne. Now, originally when I made this, I made the mistake of, for some reason, wanting to make just a one-seater throne. But I started out with oak steps and oak planks, and basically made, once again, kind of a pyramid shape that eventually would lead to the throne. And from there, I tried to work on the seat that the king would sit, and also thought that I should make the sort of benches, which of course, unfortunately in Minecraft it's kind of hard to make benches, but from there I made the benches out of oak steps and really just made about a space in between for that. And then after that, I ended up going back to the throne and correcting it so it could accommodate two people, as well as changing how it was set up and simply. Alright, so that wraps it all up for this week's episode of Just Building. Next week we will resume with the castle structure, and hopefully we will finish that up. So let me know down below, what are your thoughts of the building so far? What do you expect to come? What do you want to see? and perhaps your most favorite part. So if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you in the next video. And as always, stay magical.